guys?
Feel like an MVP. You guys look great. How do you feel?
I feel like Houdini.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feel like Houdini?
Great.
Listen, Canadian tuxedo, that's home for me, baby.
Yeah.
Shout out to all my Canadians out there.
Hey.
Denim all day, baby.
Hey.
A lot of denim.
It's good. You know, before the show, I keep a Dave Coulier message board. I made a post there, and I always like to listen to some Bryan Adams. It cuts like a knife, but it feels so right. Guys, this is good. Give me some Avril Lavigne. Let's do some Jim Carrey. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. It does.
Have you ever had just a mustache?
Oh yeah,
Really?
absolutely.
I've never
Yeah.
seen that.
Oh yeah, I did the Movember thing. Rogers has done it a million times. You know, Baker Mayfield's got the mustache news lately. It's almost like Rogers had to say, "Listen, I've been doing this since you were in high school, kid." And he
Yeah.
looked good. Looks real
It's
good.
hard to smile or laugh or show any sort of expression with this on.
But you look so cool.
Yeah.
Do I look cool?
Oh yeah.
Great, Kat.
Thanks for the fashion inspo.
Summer of '69.
Hey, Ron.
About that.
We love ya.
We might be rocking this all show long. We have a fantastic one for you. We have a preseason update on the missing four. Bad news coming out of Chargers camp. Our NFL insider Ian Rappaport, he's going to have all the details on Melvin Gordon coming up. Got to get that guy back in the league. He's one of the best to do it. Plus, I'm going to take you to school in today's Burrow lesson. Patriots wide receiver Josh Gordon, why he could help these guys not just get into the playoffs, but win another Super Bowl.
Okay.
Back to back.
Back in the
All right.
limelight.
And what else, guys? We got a ton of free.
Yeah.
Hey.
How about this full slate of
snap.
games? Yes, this is the dress rehearsal. Just like we are dressed up,
Yes.
this is the dress rehearsal.
Nicely
so
done.
We're going to have all the games for you in just a bit. Don't you go anywhere.
All right.
Mustache puns all day? Like, what's the deal?
Sure. I think we attack the show with the spirit of the radio. And shout out to Geddy Lee and the fellas.
That's a Rush reference.
Yes, it is.
Great.
It is. And we rush the football in our
I'm
sports,
here
right?
for the Bare Naked
Rush,
Ladies.
a Hall of Fame band, one of the most famous bands of all time. We shout out to you, Canada.
That's Peter Schrager, that's Kyle Brent, Nate Burleson, my name's Kay Adams, and this is your lead block.
This is the lead block.
And we love Aaron Rodgers. We're going to talk about another quarterback right now because in a recent article for GQ magazine, Browns QB Baker Mayfield said, quote, "I cannot believe the Giants took Daniel Jones. Blows my mind." Now, he clarified his comments on Instagram. Stay with me, guys. Stay serious.
Yeah.
Even though I'm
Come on
wearing
now.
this.
Come on
Stay
now.
serious out there watching. Yesterday, Baker had the chance to set the record straight on camera without glasses, but I think he does have some facial hair.
Just things taken out of context, and that's the problem with today's day and age. You know, you don't read the whole thing, you don't put two and two together, you just kind of read scripts, and then people, you know, they combine sentences from different conversations, and so it seemed very disrespectful, and I can understand that. But what people didn't realize is the conversation entailed of me saying that I was surprised I was drafted #1 overall too. You know, I reached out to Daniel because all that blew out of, you know, way out of hand, and I wanted him to know how I felt. Just wanted to clear the air with him, and you know, it is what it is. That's today's day and age. You read one thing and you can have your feelings, but that's the only reason I addressed it yesterday, is because that, to me, that came back on my character. You know, that's one thing that I don't care about a lot of opinions of it, you know, if you like me or not, but that looked like my character was, you know, way out of line, and so that's the only reason I addressed it.
Quick costume change here at the breakfast table for me, but let's talk about Baker and what he has going on. Do we feel like this experience is going to make him more cautious about how he handles himself in interviews? Kyle, I know you're probably going to say no.
I hope not. That's what I really hope not. I think he feels like he got burned in this interview. The coverage shifted on him, right? You got picked off. You got to have a short memory as a quarterback. There is a West Coast-based burger chain that we've all been to. They have a very simple menu. They only have like 3 or 4 things on it. I read an interview once with the CEO, and she's a woman who said, our whole business philosophy is change nothing. Never change, never add any items. It works for us. And I've said the same thing for Baker Mayfield. Change nothing. It is what makes him him. Never mind this interview. Daniel Jones, forget about it. You don't like it, keep going and keep. The worst thing Baker Mayfield can do at this stage in his career and say, let me rein it in a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, he talked to Complex magazine last weekend too. I thought this was an even better quote. He said, quote, "What I've done my whole life has gotten me here. There's improvements I can make, sure, but my approach I cannot change. This is a blip in the radar, Baker. Keep going from the hip."
Listen, with Baker Mayfield, he's starting to realize that everything he says is going to be blown up 1,000 times. And I find it interesting, though, that he had those comments about his former teammate Duke Johnson when he was going through all those trade issues, saying this is self-inflicted. Either you're in or you're out. You want to be here or you don't. And he was very unapologetic about it. But then he makes a comment about Daniel Jones, who isn't his teammate, and then he comes out very quickly to clear it up. I feel like he learned from the Duke Johnson situation. And now, when you're mentioning other players' name, whether they're on your team or they're not, I think that's when it starts to strike a different chord in Baker. The fans, we're going to blow up everything. The media, we're going to blow up everything. But when Baker sits back and he's at home and he starts to think about his reputation, it's one thing for people he don't know to start talking about him. But the guys within the fraternity of football, because it's bigger than Browns. Because if you see a guy from another team in the offseason, you're my brother. Even though we compete, you're my brother. And he doesn't want to run into a Daniel Jones or even now Duke Johnson and him look at Baker Mayfield like, come on, I thought you were one of us. So I think he's starting to see things a little bit different.
Well, I think that was an interesting part of it because what Baker Mayfield said is he reached out to Saquon and Sterling Shepard and was like, hey, can you connect me with Daniel Jones? So there is that fraternity, and he's like, I'm going to go look for him that way. I will say this one might have crossed the line because all the other stuff that Baker's done, the bravado and, the stuff with Hugh Jackson and even the stuff back at Oklahoma where he plants the flag at Ohio State's middle of their field, that was kind of to rally his team. This one seemed like a direct shot at, and it felt like he was sniping someone who is not looking for, like, Daniel Jones didn't want to be any part of this conversation. He's sitting there 2,000 miles away, and Baker takes a shot for no reason. He's since backtracked. He's since said he's sorry. But this isn't the end of it. Baker's going to have that, and that's what gets him going. And for us as a television show to break the fourth wall, as we always say, we're starting our 7 a.m. with Baker Mayfield GQ Talk that he did an interview back in April. It matters.
So it works for him. Is there anybody in his camp? I'm trying to think like friend, financial advisor, parent figure, wife telling him to dial it back at any point. Like, does he not have that, or does he hear that and not listen to that? Because it is working for him, and it is why he gets there. So it's hard for me to criticize the way that he is. I just like having foresight. And if in the NFL, it is such an up and down thing. It's not always going to be all up to him whether they win or lose. So I just want him to protect himself a little bit, and I want to know how he's going to approach things if they don't have a stellar season. Like, that's something that we have to consider. Is he just going to, are they going to have a 7-game losing streak and he's still going to have that same bravado? I don't know. I don't know how I would handle it, and I don't know what I would advise him to do. Like, what would you? Well, not you. I know what you'd say.
No,
what would you tell Baker Mayfield as far as how to handle himself? What would your advice be going forward?
I wouldn't tell Baker Mayfield anything. I would tell Freddie Kitchens. It's not your job just to coach. You also have to manage personnel.
You know what it is, though? Like, Peter, you were talking yesterday about you don't have to do all the interviews. You don't have to. He bets on himself. Like, the whole he has to win games, fine. That's how I want it. I'm going to bet on myself. And what I like about him is we all have these rules in sports media. You don't talk about somebody's money. You don't talk. He breaks the rules. He speaks like a real person. The concept of Daniel Jones getting drafted was very surprising to all of us. Baker admitted it. That's how we all feel. That's why I like it.
I also don't know if this was even aware of the like Peter John Baptiste, one of the best PR guys in the league. Does he know this interview is coming? Does he know that Baker's talking to Complex.com?
He's the Browns guy?
He's the Browns PR guy, and he's great. But it's also like when you have Instagram and you have Twitter and you have social media, you just do it. You don't go through the protocols. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, Kay, there would be a press conference, and it was organized by the team, and Baker Mayfield would address this. Now he goes on Instagram, he's like, he called it clickbait. Well, was it clickbait? You said it, dude.
And maybe what he learned is maybe don't take every interview. You said that several times. Nobody's forcing you to do interviews.
Just say no. But then again, he's the face of the NFL, and he's the NFL 100. It's him and Brady. It's not someone else in Brady.
Raw eggs in a frying pan. All right, you mentioned Freddie Kitchens. Well, here's what he had to say about whether Baker's comments were putting a bigger bullseye on his back.
We don't care. We don't care. All right, it's already on there, so it doesn't matter. We'll be ready to play. I don't know what a bullseye is. I don't know what that is. Does anybody know? Does anybody know what a bullseye is? If they're not trying to beat our ass and we're not trying to beat their ass, I don't know what else you do. Because that's what we're going to try to do. Hopefully they try to do the same.
I love Freddie Kitchens, but I kind of disagree with him here. Bullseyes do exist. Hugh Jackson had a bullseye when he went to the Bengals in the eyes of Baker Mayfield. Rivalries wouldn't exist if bullseyes didn't exist that are perpetuated by things that you say and clippings that go on bulletin boards. You were in fierce divisions, real-life rivalries. Do you agree with him?
I agree with him 100%. I never fell for the rivalries. I feel like you show up, there's 16 weeks. You got to win every game. Like, how much different is a game against your interdivision rival than it is against somebody that you don't face twice a year? So for me, when somebody says, oh, there's a bullseye on my back, or when media would get all bent out of shape when a guy say, we're going to win this weekend. And then, oh, my, are you guaranteeing a win, Mr. That's why I practice. Yeah. We're supposed to win. Put a bullseye on my back. I feel Freddie Kitchens 100%.
Triggs, you're telling me these opposing defenders are not going to want to give Baker hell?
I think I look at that division. I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers logo and what that franchise has seen and what that franchise has won. I look at the Baltimore Ravens logo, defense, toughness, 2 Super Bowl Lombardi trophies in the lobby. And then I look at the Browns, and you're telling me that you guys are going to get all the hype this offseason? You guys are going to be the team that everyone's picking?
So true.
You guys are the AFC North champion favorites? Get out of here. I think there is a radar, and there is a bullseye. And the more they talk and the more they chatter and the more we give them, it's more fodder for those other teams to just want to snipe them off.
Well
It's an interesting take. Like, once we show up on game day, it's one team playing hard, another team playing hard, but I disagree with it. I think if you have a coach and you have a program who knows how to motivate, who knows how to give speeches during the week and plan themes about we're Baltimore Ravens, I'm John Harbaugh here for years. Guys, they're popping their mouth off. Let's go a little extra on this. Let's have a little pop. Let's have a little scrap. That's fine. I think no matter what level of high school football you played or college or pro, there's something special about rivalry week, and I think it translates to first down.
At least that's what I want
I
to
do.
believe, Nate.
It's all right, and I feel you on that. Rivalries do exist, and whether they want to admit it or not, Baker Mayfield is creating a lot of attention for this team. And speaking of this team, you guys don't forget, baby, Baker and the Browns, they will face off against Jameis and the Bucks. The story starts here. Yes, it does. Right here on the NFL Network, Browns, Bucks, Friday at 7 live on the NFL Network. This is going to be a good one. Oh-wee.
I'm in.
Mention the word story. Do you want to know the next chapter of the Antonio Brown story?
Oh, yeah.
Another one?
He dropped a pretty outstanding line about Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys love relationship metaphors.
Is it
I do.
Is it the next chapter or the footnotes?